Yo, today's video is on, I'm going to talk about why I read black science fiction, why I read black stories geared towards black audience, why I have no problem with that, you know. I was in a conversation last week about one of my posts, and that question like kind of popped up. I was on a thread, and somebody, you know, a black writer said that they don't necessarily read books because they're black. They don't feel a special pressure to read books because they're black or you know, black characters. They just read like good stories, like I just read what's good, you know, like they take pride in that. And you know what? I don't have no problem. I don't know. Maybe I'm indifferent on that, you know, because I think I bring a lot of prejudice with me depending on who's saying that. So if I kind of know them, you know what I'm saying, or know their work, then I may, you know, take a different issue with it than if it's somebody else. And I'm not necessarily prejudiced in the sense that I feel that other stories are trash. No question. I mean, and I've read my share of stories that's actually no black people in them at all. You know what I'm saying? I've read, you know, stories like that. You couldn't read too much sci-fi, you know, prior to the 2000s, to this wave of you know, on any exclusive level, and not read stories that didn't have black people in them, because, you know, maybe 80%, and I'm fudging the numbers, but it might have been like 90%, you know, were all white cast, and then, you know, that other 10% may have been stories with one black character in it, you know what I'm saying? And so I've read my share of those stories. I've enjoyed my share of those movies. I've enjoyed my comics, you know, with my share of those comics. So I don't know, and I'm not saying because that's what I read in the past, this is why I read it now. But one of my main reasons for reading it is one, because they're written in an opportunity, with the opportunity for me to possibly connect with it in a way that I wouldn't connect with it before, and that's new for me. So yeah, history is important, not because I've read mostly white stuff, or that mostly white stuff was out there, mostly white male stuff too, you know, but now I'm able to see the difference. Also, the second reason, and this is just like in general, black, but mostly because it's black, there's a movement, you know, and America is really black and white. Black people aren't the only other ethnicity outside of white people. You know what I'm saying? Native Americans were here before white people. So they're, you know, they are considered a minority, right? Or a non-white group. But they don't engage in this or that with white people as much as black people do. So sure, I would love to say, okay, I read Indian American sci-fi or Chinese American sci-fi, hell, Latino American sci-fi, but there is no Latino sci-fi. There is no group of Chinese Americans that have been here. I mean, Chinese people been here since slavery too. You know, they were building the train tracks going across the West. You know, they were here, you know, but they have not empowered themselves in a way, they're empowered, they not have joined together to write and do things like black people. Like, white people come out with music, we're gonna come out with another music. White people come out with a sport, we're gonna come out with the same sport, the black version. You know what I'm saying? They come out with a superhero movie, where's the black superheroes? You know what I'm saying? These white stories didn't have Latinos, they didn't have Native Americans, they didn't have Indians, they didn't have Asians, but none of them engaged in pushing that diversity element. You know, gay people are faster than Native Americans to join and say, we are also discriminated before Chinese or before Native Americans. Women are faster. You know, of course, there's more women than there are probably any minority group, but, or I don't like to say minority, group of color, but they're quick to say, you know, you don't have us in sci-fi. We're going to read only female writers. You don't never hear Native Americans say, you don't have no Native American stories. Y'all been lying on Columbus. Y'all been saying we live in teepees. You know, that's wrong. You know, they don't empower themselves, you know, to do that. So, yeah, black sci-fi does. We like, where are you saying the aliens is white? We need some black aliens. We don't even know if there's aliens that exist, but we go back and forth with them like that, you know. So that's why I read black sci-fi, because it's one of the other than white ethnic groups, cultural groups, races that engage in that, yo, hit us back. We want to make sure that there's another opinion of certain things, you know, and because of that, I get fresh, different views. I get different types. So this is like even another case for black sci-fi, is because, you know, white, European, Western, however you want to call it, mainstream, you know, approaches to flying, to approaches to superheroes, you know, has been done. There's a lot of stories that are very similar. Eventually you'll run into something like The Incredibles, which is vastly different. Or you'll run across something like Watchmen, which is vastly different, you know, and those are definitely, those take off. You see how quick they get the scripts made into movies, you get the comic book made into a movie, it just transforms everything. But black sci-fi, they have a different approach on superheroes. So when you're reading Falcon, like I said, I'm going back to Falcon, you know, Rodney Barnes, he's getting my awards for whatever. If I had an award, he'd be getting it. But, you know, he gave a different approach to mainstream character. But mind you, you know, if you go to a black Comic Con, you know, and that's another thing, I go to black Comic Cons, but I would quickly go to a Latino Comic Con, an Asian Comic Con, where they probably got anime, you know, but what do you call it, Indian Comic Con, but you only see like black. And maybe because black was the main ostracized or alienated non-white group that, you know, we feel always in retaliation, we set up the alternatives, you know. So that's why you know, those are probably the two most important reasons. Also, I'm a black sci-fi writer, so I don't read it just because I write it. No, I also read it because I want to see what other people are writing. So that's part of studying it. But I don't expect other people to read black sci-fi to study it the way I do, because sometimes it's not necessarily fun, because I got to read. If I met this writer, you know, we had a table next to each other, we exchanged books, I'm going to read at least 2 or 3 chapters, and if I can have the time to finish the book, I'll finish it. And sometimes I think we write similar, so I want to read their story to see, you know, what else is out there. Man, I'm sorry y'all getting this light come through, but I don't look at the screen when I drive. That's how you crash. So I look at the road. But anyway, yeah. So those are the reasons. I actually forgot all the reasons. You know, one, because I have never really read black sci-fi. As you know, because it was really never out there 20 years ago, right? 2 is because it's a fresh look at aliens. It's a fresh look at zombies. You know what I'm saying? It's a fresh look at like Sword and Soul. That's like medieval times. That's you know, before guns. That's when swords and magic ruled. So you have Sword and Soul. You know, black sci-fi, we have cyberpunk. You know, that's our look at the future. Those stories are different. And yes, they can fall right in the umbrella of other stories mainstream, the whole genre. Black sci-fi is just a subgenre of science fiction, as would be Asian, as would be Native American, as would be Latino, as BT, I just said LBGQ, all of that falls in there. Female, that's all in there. Sure, it falls in there, but there's something different that we bring, that all cultures actually can bring. You know, it's just that black science fiction writers have really, you know, taken, you know, on our shoulders and say, yo, we're going to diversify this thing. You know what I'm saying? We're going to put something else on this plate. And that's what we do. And that's why I read it. And the third reason is because I'm studying it. So, you know, you got 3 reasons there. I mean, I had another writer, and I should have said this in the beginning because it's very annoying, you know, took very much pride and say, don't read any black writers. You know, he reads Homer, he reads Shakespeare. And I said, you know, kind of stupid, but it's English, and those are English people, fine. But to act like only white people and Europeans have mastered the medium of writing, communicating ideas, putting forth wisdom, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you telling me that no Native American has anything to offer in terms of literature? No Asian, no Indian, no African? Are you kidding me? Black Americans have become some of the most important writers in American history. You know, one lady in the audience was like, you didn't read Zora Neale Hurston? And I think, you know, there is a borderline of just maybe not self-hate, but self-intolerance. So maybe you don't hate yourself as a black person, but you are definitely intolerant. You know, then you got black writers that actually don't write black sci-fi. What? How is that possible? I'm going to blog about that longer, but you know, you got people that write stories with no black characters in them, or they write stories where the black character may not die, whoa, but he's not the central character. And there's nothing wrong with that, but dang, at the end of, you know, because there's white writers that write, male writers that write female characters. You know, the #1 ladies detective agency, he wrote about a female black character. You know, there's white writers that, you know, what you call it, Peterson, what's his name, James Patterson, his Cross character is a black character, so he's really big on Alex Cross as a black character. No question. But at the end of the day, there's still white stories, because even if they are impersonating very well the black character's behavior, it's still a white writer, and that's still, you know, well, I'll get into that. I'm going to do a whole thing on that. But that's why I read, let me stay on subject, that's why I read Black Sci-Fi. That's why I think you should read it, and we're out. All right, peace.